It was farmland. You're making it into a functional floodplain. So what do you have to do to transform it?
Waterways here on the property, the Mackay Creek, Crooked River, and Ochoco Creek were straightened over the years to facilitate the agricultural use of the property. And so in order to reclaim the historic floodplain that would have been here, it's really about re-meandering those creeks and rivers through the property to allow for more habitat for fish and wildlife, for more water to touch more parts of the property, and to restore also all of the native plant communities that would have been here as well.
The Deschutes Land Trust acquired the 185-acre Ochoco Preserve in 2017. The preserve includes 1 mile of the Crooked River, 1 mile of Mackay Creek, and 1 mile of Ochoco Creek.
This is such a special place. It's the confluence of these three waterways, and you don't find these places very often. And so when you have the opportunity to restore some of the function of these places, the hydrologic function, the ecological function, the habitat, it's just really exciting. This is not something that you get to do every day.
Riffles, shallow parts of streams that have rough water, and deep, calm pools were added to Ochoco Creek and the Crooked River to create habitat diversity for native trout, salmon, and steelhead. Countless other creatures, including freshwater mussels, will benefit from these improvements. New floodplains, low-lying areas along the creeks and river were built to give the waterways room to spread out during high water flows and were immediately tested.
It was really amazing to see this rain on snow event and imagining what it would have looked like coming through a single channel versus seeing what it looked like spread out across a restored floodplain. Not only was it able to manage that amount of water without causing downstream impacts, flooding impacts for neighbors, but it was also able to wet a lot of the parts of the property that had previously been dry, and you can see the plants and the rebound that comes from that.
Volunteers planted some 60,000 native grasses, flowers, shrubs, and trees during Phase 2 of the restoration.
Mostly in the upland areas, we're focusing on native grasses, a lot of ryegrass, and then also more wetland vegetation along the stream bed. And this planting is going to take place here in the next couple of weeks. We'll put 60,000 native plants into the ground here. But our work on maintaining the uplands here and controlling the weeds and making sure that those healthy plant communities survive, that will take decades and decades.
To see how all this will turn out, you need only wander into Phase 1 along Mackay Creek, which was restored 2 years ago. Here, the vegetation is coming back with a vengeance, and the flowering bushes are alive with pollinators.
We have lots of preserves all over Central Oregon, and some of them are quite remote. And this is actually the preserve where I see the most wildlife when I'm here visiting. And I think because it's so close to the community of Prineville, that refugia, that habitat is so critical, and it just makes me so happy to see all of the birds and deer, fox, beaver that are utilizing this really beautiful place.
Phase 3 plans include construction of trails that should provide outstanding wildlife viewing opportunities.
So we're in the process of fundraising for Phase 3, which will happen in 2026. A really exciting part about Phase 3 will be a trail system that connects a bridge across the Crooked to the Crooked River Wetlands Complex. And so we've worked really closely with the Oregon Department of Transportation and the city of Prineville to connect all of these really great community resources.
As with all Deschutes Land Trust projects, there are loads of volunteer opportunities to help restore the streams, native plant, and wildlife communities during this multi-year project. Check with the Deschutes Land Trust for details. From the Ochoco Preserve near Prineville, I'm Brooke Snavely for The Great Outdoors.